So guys, today we're gonna be talking about the mess that I have in my closet. I'm just kidding. We're gonna be talking about using APS-C lenses with full frame. Now, this has become my #1 choice when traveling. I've been shooting a lot with the A6400, which is the camera that I'm shooting with right now. That is an incredible camera. The APS-C lenses that I use for that camera is also really nice. You know, I use a lot the 56mm Sigma, which is an incredible portrait lens, f1.4. The 16-70, which is the lens that will give you an overall performance, f4. And you know, the wide angle lens, which is the one that I'm using right here, right now, the 10-18mm f4. Incredible lenses, incredible option. Now, using APS-C format cameras, at least with Sony, you're always gonna find a lot of problem if you're a hybrid shooter. This camera is great for photography. This camera, it's great for video if you use it with a gimbal, but when you do a lot of handheld, you know, hybrid shooting, photo and video, this camera really sucks at that, all right? If you're a gimbal shooter, forget about this video, skip it. Now we're gonna be talking about people like myself that do kind of like photography and video 50-50. A couple of years ago, you know, I was traveling with full frame cameras, full frame lenses. My ultimate combination right now is the 24-70 f2.8, and this is the 85 f1.4. So these lenses are incredible, but they are also incredibly heavy. Even though we have stabilized lenses like the 16-24, the image stabilization on these lenses are nowhere compared to the big player full frame like the 7R3 that I have right here, or A7 III or A9. This image stabilization is really nice for handheld. I try not to carry gimbal with me again. I like to pack super light when I travel. Let's talk about the features of the APS-C setup. Why I like APS-C format cameras. They take very little space in your bag, and the lenses are super small. Like right here I have 16-70mm f4. Right here I have the 35 f1.8, one of my favorite lenses. Over here I have the Sigma 56mm f1.4. Now this lens is now stabilized, but to be honest with you, yes, you may get away with stable lenses, but stabilization is not great. The rolling shutter that you get when you kind of like pan fast is really bad on this APS-C. The answer is very simple. The Sony A7R3 or A9 or 7A3 and other models, they have what is called APS-C mode, meaning that the camera can actually accept APS-C lenses, and therefore you'll be shooting with a portion of the sensor equivalent to APS-C format sensors. Tons of benefits of doing that. #1 benefit is the weight. Okay, so if you're traveling and you're holding a lot of gear, you are going to be able to carry really light gear. This is an 80D Canon, right? So it is way smaller than this setup, and before I used to shoot a lot with this setup. You're still carrying something really small, and you're getting a lot of benefits. Ergonomics, you know, you can beat the ergonomics of this type of full frame cameras. You know, I like to be able to hold my camera very securely. I usually shoot with this strap. It saved my life many times. I like the form factor. I like how this camera feels in my hand. The other thing that I love about this full frame camera, especially since the new generation of Sony cameras that are coming with this battery, is that I can shoot for 2 hours without even have to worry about changing the battery. Now, with the APS-C cameras, you're gonna realize that you burn batteries through the day like crazy. It's safe to say that I will probably change batteries 2 or 3 times, where here I can actually achieve the same with one battery. That to me, when you're on the go, is priceless. Let me compare to you guys the differences of the setup. So right here, I have, like I mentioned before, the A7R3. So this is how the camera will look with this lens. 24-70, this is what you will get. Look at the difference. Over here, I have kind of like an equivalent lens. This is the 16-70. Now this lens weighs about 3 times less than this lens, and maybe, I don't know, maybe 4. Look at the size difference. You know, this lens can cover all the bases, and I like it because it's 2.8. Now this one, 16-70, right? f4. Now, when you're on the go and you want to capture the moment, sometimes you don't get too picky with a shallow depth of field. Even though at 70 and f4, you can get some very decent shallow depth of field. This lens has image stabilization as well, which it doesn't matter with, you know, when you shoot in full frame. And, you know, I get really incredible results. Let me just show you how simple this setup is. So that's it. very, very nice. You know, you have a lens hood right here with a lens hood is about this big, super light, super cool, and looks really, really nice actually. My favorite portrait lens, you know, when it comes to APS-C lenses, have become this 56mm f1.4 for Sigma. This lens is incredible for photos. You know, if you're shooting photos with APS-C frames, you're gonna get incredible quality of images. You wouldn't be able to tell if it was shot with a full frame or with an APS-C lens. This one is also a very small form factor frame. Really nice, really portable, really compact. The problem that I have when shooting with this lens with APS-C cameras with A6400, A6500 is that it doesn't have any on-lens image stabilization. Now with this camera, flawless. I can actually shooting at f1.4, not having to worry about shaky footage. Now, why do I like to pair these lenses with an A7R3 and not with an A7 III or the A7 IX? The simple reason is because I have more megapixel count here. This camera, I believe, is 48 megapixels versus, you know, an A7 III or A9, which is 24, I believe. Basically, shooting with this setup, I get almost equal footage than when I shoot with my A9 with gigantic lenses. I can actually pack 3 of these lenses for the size and weight of this lens. These 3 lenses probably weigh a little bit less than just one lens. So at a glance, I can actually have these 3 lenses in my little Peak Design bag, and I have plenty of room. I can throw batteries, I can throw a microphone in here, I can just, you know, carry a lot more gear with a lot less waste. That is my today's choice for, you know, traveling setup. Let's talk about this little lens. I got this lens not too long ago. This is the 35 f1.8. Now this lens is incredible for what it can do. Super tiny lens. So basically with these 3 lenses, I'm covering all the bases. This one is good for close-ups, you know, filming really close to the subject, 35mm. Really nice shallow depth of field. When you want to go a little bit more zoom lens style, this one is unbeatable. It's an unbeatable lens. f1.4, constant aperture, 16 to 70. You know, you get into the wide angle, and then you go to the nice, decent zoom, 70mm, which it equals a little bit more when shooting APS-C mode. And then the 56mm ultimate choice for portrait. You know, this lens is great. This used to be my setup, the 24 to 70, 85mm Sony f1.4, and now I've reduced it by this. This concludes my video, guys. Check it out. If you have a 7R3 and some APS-C lenses, give yourself a try. Don't be worried about lack of resolution. You're not losing any resolution. If you know how to shoot, do yourself a favor. Try in one trip, pack lighter gear. You'll be thankful that you gave yourself a try. Thank you for watching this video, and now let's turn off the camera.